If you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to walk and live by faith. And often our faith is tested. And in a lot of ways, God wants to show us what's in our hearts. He wants us to live and walk by faith. That's the whole of the Christian life. So if you're going to be a leader among Christians, then you've got to live and walk by faith. In my own life, I know that there have been 3 seasons. In the first season, my wife and I were married, we were new Christians, and God called us to be an evangelist, and we went out into the world and we lived by faith. We had no assurance of income. We just trusted God, and He met our needs. He took us around the world to reach people with the gospel, and it was exciting. And then there was a second period of about 8 years when I was pastor, and during that time, I didn't have to worry about my income. The church took care of us. I was not wealthy, but I had my needs met, and so it was a comfortable situation. And then God called me to go back into itinerant evangelism. And I was uncomfortable because now I had to step out on faith and trust Him. And the Lord just said, son, if you want to be used of me, you've got to be willing to walk and live by faith. I had seen Him do it in the past. I knew He could do it, but I had to take a new step of faith if I was going to be a leader in God's kingdom. And I took that step of faith, and God is blessed in a tremendous way. You see, there was a man in the Bible that God spoke to, and this man had seen God do great things. Joshua. I mean, he saw God part the Red Sea. He was an associate. He was an assistant. Moses had mentored him. And so he had walked, he had seen God do great things. But now the day came when God told him. He said, you got to go and put your feet in the water. And I'm going to do what I did for Moses, I'm going to do for you as you cross that river. And so he had to go to the Jordan River and place his feet. But God said something else to him. He said, I'm going to exalt you. I'm going to exalt you when you do that. And we can see some things in this instance with Joshua that we can learn from that are immensely important for us. First of all, Joshua was required to walk and to live by faith. If he was going to be what God wanted him to be, he had to live by faith. And so if you're going to be what God wants you to be, you've got to live by faith. The second thing is that when you do walk by faith, when you do live by faith, God will exalt you. Joshua didn't exalt himself. He didn't have to make himself the leader. God made him the leader. So whenever you walk by faith, God will exalt you in His own time. And the third thing is, after they made that step of faith and they crossed that river, then they consecrated. And Joshua, as a leader, called the people to consecrate themselves to the Lord. And when you do that, God will do great and mighty things. Joshua became a leader, but his faith had to be tested. God knew what was in his heart, but Joshua needed to know. So God tested his faith. You want to be a leader in God's kingdom? Then you've got to walk and live by faith.